and we are Two Lovers and a Wiener.
Coming to you live, hot, and Sparky just got concussed.
I accidentally hit his head on the table when I picked him up. He's okay.
But hey guys, welcome back or welcome to our channel. Today we're going to be giving you a little bit of input on why we moved to Myrtle and kind of the process that led us to getting here.
Yes. So to kind of start from the beginning, Tyler and I met in June of 2020, and I was living in Frederick, Maryland. Sparky's teeth. I was living in Frederick, Maryland, and he was living in Baltimore, Maryland. So we were kind of far apart. Luckily, my job was kind of in the middle of both of us, so that was nice. But we were pretty far apart. And one day, after we had been dating for maybe like a month and a half-ish, Tyler jokingly, but not so jokingly, asked me to move in with him. And I had been kind of looking for a reason to move out of my house in Frederick. And I also just really wanted to live with Tyler because it was...
Why would you not?
Because it was hard not spending every second of my time with Tyler.
Just melted my heart like a popsicle on a hot day.
So I said yes, obviously. And literally, like, the next day, I'd moved in all of my stuff.
I was going to say, it was one of those things where I'd said it, she'd kind of been like, okay. I kind of didn't really know what that meant, because she, like, it wasn't, like, really talked about much more. I actually went to work the next day, and I don't think I got home till kind of later, like, maybe, like, 7 or 8. And, yeah, she was just kind of there with all of her stuff. And the way I knew she had moved in was because my bed was covered with decorative pillows. And, yeah, so anyway, from there, she had moved in, and I was probably, like, close to the end of July, which coincidentally was right around, she'd probably been living there for about 2 weeks, and at the current time, Mark, my roommates, and I's lease was up in February of 2021, right? So it's June 2021, and we've been in Myrtle for 8 months now. So obviously we didn't stay our full lease. And it was kind of because the landlord and didn't really, appreciate Mark and I. We didn't really appreciate them. We had a lot of disagreements. And basically at the end of July, they kind of like, hey, here's a buyout, and we can just both mutually be done with this. And Mark and I were like, absolutely. We jumped on it as soon as we could. Didn't really have a plan. But yeah, it was like 2 weeks after Janet was like, oh, I'm moving to Baltimore. We're going to live in Baltimore for a couple, months, and then we're going to figure everything out. Well, 2 weeks after that, I kind of was like, hey, yeah, so we're moving. We got to find a new place. We got to be out by the end of August 31st, which was literally a month from then. Yeah.
You asked me where I wanted to go.
So basically from there, had no idea where we wanted to move. I did know that I wanted to leave Maryland. Janet knew she wanted to leave Maryland. Something she had been talking about, something I had been talking about, something I'd wanted to do. And yeah, basically I had started looking around some areas. I was kind of thinking about going out down south, just to see. I was thinking more like Georgia, somewhere in there, because some of the companies I work with are based out of there, had a lot of work, and I was like, well, I can just go down there, work, save a ton of money, then move to where I really want to move, which is Colorado. Anyway, though, I was just kind of like, I don't want to be the one that makes all the executive decisions, because I don't think that's right or fair. So I asked Janet, and like a lot of our things, Janet was like, oh, well, I went to Myrtle Beach with, my friend, like, once or twice, and I really liked it, and...
Yeah, he asked me where I wanted to move, and I was just like, I don't know, like, I had lived in that house in Frederick my whole entire life, had been to very few other states, and had no idea, and again, like Tyler said, I... kind of jokingly was like, oh, I like Myrtle Beach, like I had been on vacation there once with my best friend, and I also just love the beach, and I didn't think that he was going to take it as wholeheartedly as he did, because he literally started looking for apartments and houses in Myrtle Beach.
And which I think literally was the same day. I was like, yes, like, we're gonna start filling out applications for this stuff to kind of like get ahead of it, because up until that point in my life, literally every time I had to move, we were like doing an apartment search the like last day, last second, and that's what I was trying to avoid with this process, which we ended up not really being able to do because of certain things that led us to basically not have a place to live pretty much up till like the week before we had to be out. And
I was gonna say, after many like rejections, we found our apartment here like 3 days before we had to be out.
3 days
of
before,
Baltimore.
I sent whatever I needed to, signed everything, and just had to put the deposit down, which I did after we drove through the night to get here. And that's actually another thing. We literally headed out, I think, at like 3 in the morning and got here at like 10, exhausted. I had to sit in the office for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, signing all the paperwork and paying the deposit and yada, 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 before we could actually come in. And all we brought in was the bed and passed out. And, so some things I guess we were going to touch on, right, about the apartment now, was our issues here in the specific apartment. Again, it wasn't our first choice. It was kind of our last resort, and thankfully it did happen. So we do appreciate the fact that it did happen versus being homeless. But some of the issues were the tenant above us when we first moved in really didn't like Sparky. Sparky didn't really like them. And I mean, there's more that we elaborated on in a different video that I don't really feel like was necessary, but basically we just didn't get along, and it kind of made our time here miserable because I was getting phone calls like every 2 seconds about
Letters from the office.
Yeah, threats, and it was just like kind of like, dude, I pay the same rent as this lady above me. Why does she think she's better than us? Like, why does she think she gets to tell me when I can and can't do that? Like, that pisses me off. And I know that's apartment living, and it's a big reason why we're actually getting out of apartment living, getting out of living in any kind of confined space, at all. And I feel like it's a good time to segue right on into that, unless you want to elaborate further.
No, so now I guess we can talk about why we picked RV living, which kind of like Tyler said, when we moved down here, I didn't even really want to be in an apartment. I had never been in an apartment. I just knew that having Sparky, even though he's a decently good dog, it just wasn't going to be right for him, and I just didn't want to live in an apartment.
And to add on to that, not to cut you off, but to add on to that, it was the biggest reason that Mark and I did move into the house we did in Baltimore, even though we didn't really like the area or really the house. It was like, this is at least a house, and we'd been in apartments up to that point and never worked out because we just didn't need to be in an environment with people. And that was the one nice thing, was the house, but it was kind of like weird to go from a house where you could do whatever you wanted, be as loud as you wanted, do anything you wanted, to an apartment where there's people that have opinions and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. So that was kind of one of our reasonings, is not wanting to rent anywhere else and not fully being ready to buy anything in any specific location where we have to stay there for a long point of time.
Another issue that we had with Myrtle was very early on we kind of established we didn't really want to stay here long term, and it was kind of like one of those things where I had the option to do a month-to-month lease, and I wish we did, because if we did, we probably honestly still wouldn't be here. We might be somewhere else by now, just because it's a tourist town, and you have to be very you have to be doing something with the tourist industry for it to be worth it for you to live here or to actually be a tourist. And we were neither of those. And so basically we just live in a very overpopulated area where anytime you want to go do something, it's just way extra than it needs to be.
Yeah, so we had that reasoning. The other reasoning was just that this RV life is something Tyler has been wanting to do for a while.
Van life, actually.
That he kind of talked me into, because I, as I mentioned earlier, haven't seen that much and would love to see so much more of the country.
That's great. That's so cute. That's distracting. Distracting me.
But yeah, Tyler's always wanted to do it. I would love to see a bunch of different places. And so he kind of didn't really have to talk me into it, but kind of talked me into RV life. And that was kind of our next point for doing it. Was there anything you wanted to add on to that point?
Yeah, I just basically, I guess, want to full circle what you just kind of said, which is the fact that pretty much since I graduated, I kind of have learned that staying in one place too long is not my thing. I don't like it. There's too much of this world to explore, and I feel like too many people get rooted in places and think that that place is the only place and it's the best place. It's not to come at any of the Marylanders, but so many people I talk to are like, oh, Maryland's the best because why? Crabs? That's really, I think, the only positive about that state. South Carolina, there's nothing really that great about the state, but Myrtle Beach, Charleston, you at least got a beach. So I get that, but it's still not something I would consider the best place. Again, I want a little drizzle of everything, you know? And I don't know if that place exists, but I sure as heck am not going to not go try and find it. I mean, I'm young, she's young, we got nothing but time to figure it all out, find a place.
Sparks young.
I was going to say, Sparks young, you know, at heart. But yeah, like, you know, and I just love the fact that every day would be a new day in van life, or what we're going to be doing, RV living. Things always unfortunately going wrong, which is problem solving. I love that. And always a new adventure. Pretty much every day is a new adventure, in which Janet will actually tell you a little bit about one of her more favorite like things she said.
Yeah, so
or one of my more favorite things she said.
So this was our third reasoning for wanting to do RV life, and it was just because we had gotten into such a routine here, and one day I was telling Tyler about one of the days.
Yeti, sponsor us.
One day I was standing in the mirror looking at myself, brushing my teeth, and keep in mind it was right in the middle of one of our longer stretches of work, which we had quite often, where we would wake up at like 6 in the morning and work all day and not get home until like 1 a.m. and it would just repeat every day.
No joke. And this was probably like a 3-4 week stretch that Janet's talking about.
Yeah. So it was one morning. We were getting ready for work. I was standing in the mirror, looking at myself, brushing my teeth, and I was like, I feel like all I'm doing is brushing my teeth. I wake up in the morning, I brush my teeth. The day goes by so quickly because we're so busy, we're doing so much, and then I'm back home again, getting ready for bed, brushing my teeth. And then I sleep all night, and that goes by immediately too because I'm so tired and exhausted that as soon as I get in bed, I'm asleep, and I'm back up in the morning again, brushing my teeth. And it was just that. Just all I felt like I was doing was brushing my teeth. And it was that like routine and kind of like repetitiveness that we started to get into that I really just didn't like. It was really affecting like my mood and kind of how I felt about morale.
All around,
yes.
Morale was at a pretty all-time low. It was nice because we were making money, and money's always good to make, but it was kind of like that whole like feeling super defeated over really like minimal losses, like the smallest things. I remember on this stretch, one of the things I did was try to change the oil on the truck, and for whatever reason it wouldn't come off. But mind you, this is at 10:30 at night after working all day. I was trying to change the oil, and the oil filter wouldn't come off, and I just got so pissed off and frustrated because I had been up since 5:30, 6 in the morning, and was trying to change my oil at 10:30 at night, when it's like if I would have just been able to have 2 seconds to do that during a normal time and not have been working and not be just like, oh, I just want to go lay in bed and go eat food, go eat dinner, it'd be fine. And I mean, again, it's just living's exhausting, but you know, when you live like that, it's even more exhausting. And it's why I like Janet's reference of you know, I feel like I'm always brushing my teeth, because that's kind of the rhythm that you get in of like, it's all just moving so fast, so many moving parts that you just kind of like doing it with your eyes closed, and you're like a robot. And I hate living that way. I hate getting in those things of doing that. And it's again what's exciting about RV living, and you know, all that's going to come with it, and all the fun adventures and all the issues and whatever the heck else comes with it, you know?
Yeah, we're very, very excited for all of the adventure.
Excited and
optimistic, and just can't wait for every day to be something different, a new scenery, a new activity.
Can't wait to share it all with you.
Yeah.
But
that I think was pretty much it. Did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about?
No, just to stay tuned. As I keep trying to really drive in, we are going to be a lot more active. I know we posted a video, waited 2 weeks, but it's going to be a lot more consistent. Again, we're going to post this one today. I have our Colorado road trip from back in February over Valentine's Day, which that was a crazy fun little thing we did.
Yeah, it was.
That I'm compiling together. It's going to be a little bit less quality because we didn't really know what we were doing with that, but it's still going to be a video that'll be posted. And like I put on my Snapchat, I am going to be doing a truck delete F350 Power Stroke EGR and def delete video here in the upcoming weeks. Plus whatever the heck else we figure out and decide to do. Oh, and we have some challenges we're going to be taking on here soon if I can convince Janet to,
We have to convince Sparky.
Yeah, I mean, look, this guy just sleeps,
With his teeth out.
I just saw this guy, this NCAA player, just got his dog signed to PetSmart. It's like... And Sparky, he owns 4 businesses down here, can't pay us anything. It's ridiculous. He just sleeps 16 hours a day, every day. It's ridiculous. How do you need that much sleep?
I'm a tired boy. I'm an old man.
But alrighty, guys, we'll catch you next time.
Like and subscribe.
2 lovers and a wiener out. I don't know how I put that up. But
Bye.
We out.